KTSA News Time, 10:09. The weekend starts now. Gang of Four hits the airwaves. We'll meet the gang. We'll kick around the big stories of the day and the week with the gang. You know what a big story is? You know what's a big story? Taylor, hand me the camera. A big story is Taylor's haircut. Look at this.
Hey.
Look at that.
Didn't it used to be kind of long?
Look at that.
Yeah.
There's an actual human being in there. We
And
didn't know.
you can see his eyes more.
What do you think? Is it a good
I
haircut?
like it.
Yeah.
I think you're.
I like your hair when it's more shaggy.
Well, it's not about me.
I know
Don't
it's
change
not
the
about you,
subject.
but we're going to make it about you because
This
I
is
think your
about
hair
her.
looks
She
like
likes to do
shaggy.
that. She's very good at.
I've worked with him for almost a year, and I literally did not recognize him.
Yo,
Who was this
Taylor.
person walking toward me with
Wow.
papers this morning? It was our
Wow.
producer, Taylor Johnson.
Next
so.
thing you know, he might be wearing like the suit and tie. Oh my
Never.
God. No,
You
no,
know-
you
no,
haven't.
it's no laugh. When I saw the haircut, the first thing I thought was, "Oh crap, he's got a job interview somewhere else." That's what I thought. He's leaving me. He got the job interview haircut. All right, on the gang today, I'm just going to go left to right. I'm going to be unchivalrous
Left
and start
to
with the
right.
guy. Doug Vair from Retama Park is here. Doug, good morning to you.
Good morning.
How's everything?
Well, it's been very intense the last couple of months with the legislature in session, and
Yeah.
obviously the gaming issue front and center for us and for a lot of people that know that the legislature needs new sources of funding, and you can't balance this state budget with just cuts. So we're out there working very hard to convince the legislature, which, by the way, I think is a little bit behind the curve of the people on this issue.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
And of course, last time we had you on, you described the process would be the legislature, ultimately, though, a vote of the people,
Sure.
yes or no on this.
Absolutely.
You're very confident if it gets to that point that there'd be an overwhelming amount of support for it.
I am very confident, but beyond that, this is an issue that really needs to be decided by the people and not just the folks in Austin.
All right, Doug Vair from Retama Park here. Sylvia Rincon, who used to work here at KTSA and is now a star reporter for Fox San Antonio. She's everywhere.
And loving the camera. Thank you.
She's
I love
looking
it.
for the camera.
I
She
look
does
for the
love the camera.
camera.
Look at her, she's waving it over. Bring it over.
She can have my camera time.
She works with, well, we have Yami Vita on Gang.
Oh yeah,
now,
I'm a
too.
big fan. Yeah, she's one of my
And that
favorites.
puts some pressure on you now because you're not the only Fox San Antonio representative.
Oh
gotta
yeah,
live
and hey,
up.
but let me tell you, some of the hardest working people over there at Fox are alumni from here.
Of course, there. JT Street who's
JT,
over here.
Absolutely.
When are we going to get? What's her? I can't think of her name.
Malika.
I don't know how to say it.
Everybody says it every different way, but it's Malika Linka.
Tell her she needs to be on Gang of Four. We love her.
Isn't she fun?
Yeah.
She's a lot of fun.
Tell her we said
She's
hi.
another hardworking gal over there.
All right, we just want to get the whole staff. You're covering a lot of stories. You're going to tell us later on about a big
A couple big
enterprise
stories.
piece you're
Yeah,
doing.
I don't just do spot news. I don't just
No.
do death and destruction.
I told her when she came in. I said,
Death and destruction.
I said there must not be a house on fire on the east side because Sylvia's
Be
here.
afraid if I'm
Yeah.
there because something bad's happening. But I actually do some other stories, and we'll talk about
Yeah,
it a
I
little
want
bit
to get into
later.
that.
Absolutely.
Sylvia's here today. It's good to have her back in the building. And Lisa Hunt, the first lady of the left, is sitting on my right, but don't
no.
let that fool you.
I know, don't let it fool you.
And let me explain what's going to happen here today. Sylvia and I are going to have very little to do. Doug Vair and Lisa Hunt are going to tear each other's throats out.
No, because I
For the
try
next
to.
9
We have a lot of
minutes.
experience doing that.
They are great together. This is a great pairing right
I'm
here.
just glad there's a wall of separation here, Jack.
A slight wall of
It
separation.
doesn't have to be. You
I
go over
love
there
it.
anytime you want. Lisa, how are you doing?
I'm doing really
Your
well.
health okay?
My health is really good. I'm feeling a lot better. I don't. Taylor is in my
Not liking the
Just
camera.
ignore it. Just pretend it's not there.
Pretend it's not there.
Just pretend it's not there.
What's new? Not much. Not much. I'm looking for a new job.
Where are you looking right now? You're looking off into the corner.
I'm.
Look at me. Talk to me. I'm over here.
Hi.
Just pretend it's not there. Don't worry about it. We have a camera in here on Fridays. We have the
You have a
video
camera in here
podcast
all the
of
time.
Gang of Four, and it upsets Lisa.
It's now television, radio.
Now you're being shot from behind.
Lisa's looking in the classified ads of the Current.
But think about it. This is a resume. You put this on your reel. We can put that together.
I've got a job on the line, and I'm hoping that I do get it. I really can't talk about it because.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Use me as a reference.
Okay.
If you really have to.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you,
All right.
Jack.
There's so much going on. You just saw we just had John Boehner on making his comments. Various people on both sides of this thing have been coming out and making comments. We'll talk about it a little bit more later on. But do you just get the feeling that you're watching a game
Sure.
being played? Like when you play Monopoly, you can have a lot of money, you can lose money, you can own hotels and Park Place, but it's all paper. It doesn't represent anything. I just feel like we're watching them play a game here.
I think this is just emblematic of why Americans are just so fed up with their government and why we have such a low opinion of Congress. I mean, I've turned it off. I don't even watch it. I may listen to a snippet every
I think
now and
most
then.
people have done.
What's with
just-
the press
just turned it
conferences
off.
of more of nothing?
Right.
I love that. You know, we're gonna have a press conference. Oh, did they decide that?
You have it when you've done something.
Yeah, exactly. What a waste of time to do that.
I don't understand really who the Democrats are fighting for over 10 to 20 billion dollars in difference in so-called cuts. I don't understand who they're fighting for. Is it a principle? I mean, and I don't understand why the Republicans have to say we have to have this much or no, because these cuts are insignificant. They're nothing. They don't mean anything.
Right. You're talking about billions when you have a deficit of over
It means
$1.5 trillion.
Means
Right.
nothing.
So what good is that going to do?
What good is it going to do? Didn't the Democrats come up with $33 trillion
So
or
what?
whatever? And then
So what?
But I'm just saying they came up with more cuts. Whatever
Those
it
aren't
is.
cuts. That's nothing.
Well, so
That's
what,
like saying that's like saying, hey Lisa, give me $1 out of your pocket, and you say, no, I only want to give you 75 cents. It's nothing.
So what do? So you just what? Are you going to cut everything? I mean, what's the answer? What I love is that everybody's like, well, we can't do this, but what can we do?
Solar.
Because I mean, think about
Well,
all of the
let's hope so,
warnings
Sylvia.
and all of the stories going out. This is what's going to happen if it shuts down.
I don't believe
and,
any
You know,
of it anyway.
who thinks that's
What do you
a
mean
little
you
bit
don't
of a
believe
spin?
that anyway?
Well,
That's what happened.
We've had the government shut down 17 times
know.
in the last quarter of a century.
And then-
It doesn't make any difference. It makes no difference.
How many things is this a show? And it's already been scripted.
It's a
It's
show,
possible.
and
It's possible.
they're discussing. They are discussing the what to serve on the midnight buffet of the Titanic.
Yeah, thank you.
While the Titanic is sinking,
Jack,
they're
that's brilliant
arguing over
analogy.
what to have on the buffet. I mean, the deficit is over $1 trillion. No one will even know in 5 years about the
1.6.
$5 billion or the $10 billion. We won't even know. My grandmother used to say, a man flying by in a jet won't be able to tell the difference. And this is the truth.
And that's exactly right.
This is what it's come to. And so if the public is not paying attention to this, then they're showing the most sense of all. I mean, that's the most sensible way. Let these people have their slap fight. But know that because both sides are doing it, you're not going to be able to count on either of these political parties to rescue you,
And
to
that's an
save
important point. I think that when you try to make the argument that it's this side or that side, really pay attention. If you're going to take a step back and say, you know what, this is crazy and I'm just going to tune out. But really think about who the parties are involved, because when it's all said and done, so-and-so is going to come up and say, well, it was the Republicans, so-and-so, they said the Democrats. But
Right.
the truth is, it's really both.
As
okay?
you say,
Let's
we
really
could just
talk
turn
about
ahead in
that.
the script. We already know how this.
We already know how
We've
it's
seen
going to be
this
played
movie
out. I
before.
have seen it a million times. Come on.
Now, if we could have this much attention paid to, for example, the Paul Ryan plan, or what Rand Paul is proposing, then we could at least say, well, now we're discussing things
Now
that
we're
Now we're
will
thinking
affect the
outside the
lives
box.
of our children and
Right.
grandchildren.
Now we're going off script. Oh my God. We're going to go off script? Oh my God. Can you imagine? Can you
But-
imagine what would happen in
Which
Washington?
Paul Ryan
But
idea are
these
you
guys,
talking about?
but
The
these
one where
guys
nobody
are
gets
not-
Medicare?
But these guys are not even willing, even in his own party.
Because
These
they don't
guys
know
want
how.
nothing to do
I don't
with
know
him.
that they know how to do that. I think that honestly, when you go over there, and I don't know how many of you guys have been in one of those those negotiation rooms, or actually down in like City Hall or in DC. It's like a tidal wave. They all become part of the momentum, and I don't know that they can actually pull themselves out of it. It's like they become blinded by this script.
You know, the American public is so much smarter than those morons that we have in Washington D.C. They see what has happened. They are. We have seen what has happened to Greece. We've seen what's happened to Ireland. We've seen what's happened to Portugal. Which for months Portugal said, "Oh no, we're in good shape. We are headed in the exact same direction. It is undeniable. You cannot deny that we are headed for a debt
Except for one
crisis.
thing.
We already have a debt crisis."
Except for one thing, we can't be bailed out by any multinational fund, right?
Right.
These smaller countries get picked up by somebody. It's not going to happen. When the U.S. economy goes down, there isn't anybody that can, with the pockets deep enough to pick that up. Our creditor nations are reaching the maxed out point, and one of them now, Japan, is in so much trouble that they're not going to be looking to buy any more debt from this country.
Just look at it this way. I mean, it's real simple, and the American public knows this. Out of every dollar that the federal government spends, 40 cents is borrowed. Now, if you did that, or Lisa, you did that, you'd be broke within a year. You'd be done. You'd be toast. And the American public understands.
I got a question. We're all I don't know. I mean, economics was not my subject in school. I'm sure you probably have figured that out by now. But what is the answer? I mean, what do you do? If you were in charge, Doug, what would you do?
2/3 of the federal budget are these entitlement programs. Unless you're talking about Medicare and Social Security, you're not talking about anything.
Okay, so what? So we're all going to be on the street at this point?
Why does fixing the entitlement programs mean we all?
Well, the entitlement is, well, if you take away the Medicaid from Medicare,
I'm taking it away.
Well, I'm just saying. This is what I'm hearing. You know, I'm hearing it like you guys were hearing death panels, okay? If you're taking Medicaid away from Medicare patients who are in nursing homes, where are they going? Are they going to be put out on the street? I mean, that's scary. You want to take away...
Yeah, that's a scare tactic. That's not going to happen.
Well, I would hope not.
No, look, it's real simple. You have to get on a plan to prosperity. And I'm not saying Paul Ryan's plan is the greatest thing, but at least it's a start. And by the way, looking 10 years down the road, saying 10 years, that's an absurdity, because what we need to focus on right now is right now. Right now. And maybe a year out, because, Jack, as you said, everything's changing so fast in our world, no one can predict what's going to happen in a year or 2 years.
It is a faster rate, but let me make this point really quickly. I think that when you talk about major entitlement programs, major socialized institutions like that, it is frightening when someone says, let's just yank it. And you're right, it is. We were talking about 2/3 of the budget having to do with entitlement programs, but your answer, though, comes in phases, much to do with the way that this country, I'm just going to use this, it has nothing to do with economics, but an idea of how to change the mind of a culture and a country. When we talked about segregation and integration, how did they do it? They started at the very top and worked their way down to what really affected everybody, the children, right? So when you started to make major changes in a culture, in a society, in a country, you have to start small and phase it in. And that's where we go back to these other plans that are outside the box, and you have to listen to some of these. But unfortunately, they're still on that script that we talked about.
Well, and the other part of this conversation that's hard to have is that you've been lied to, in the sense that you're saying, are you going to take blank away from me? And the truth is, it's already been taken away because there's no money for it. So the promises you are worried about somebody, me or evil Republicans, breaking are in fact promises that can't be kept. If you killed all the Republicans tomorrow, Lisa, if you put them all in concentration camps, these entitlement programs would still go away because there'll be no money for them. So do you want to be told the truth? Or do you want to be lied to? One party will lie to you and say there's nothing, everything's fine. The other party is at least telling you, you know what, we're broke.
It's perfectly understandable to change the way we think. I agree with this. And she's right, we have to do it in phases. Unfortunately, like we do in this country, we wait till there's no more time to do something, and then we have to make rash decisions.
And
that's the problem. And it doesn't matter who it is.
What we call entitlement programs, and I'm using the wrong words, official words for
Benefits.
that. The experts will tell you, people, who run these, they're not going to entirely go away. What we want to do is bring them down. They have to be reformed, and they have to be brought down to a level of sustainability that is going to have some sort of system or equation that'll allow them to sustain the
Had we not gotten ourselves in the situation we're in.
And people are going to have to take more responsibility. And
that's right. And you know that I am one of those people. I believe that people don't take any responsibility anymore. Everything is somebody else's fault. And I totally believe that. I
think we're getting through to her.
I've always felt that way.
When you look at it this way, when you look at it
and I'm willing to use it.
What